I'm just going to run through this really quick because we're about out of time, because I want you to know there are a whole group of things going to come up at the next City Council meeting that were talked about at the last City Council meeting, and it shows that we're getting a lot more interaction and discussion about things that are going on. The first thing I think that's very important, and my friend from up there by Golden Valley Road isn't here tonight, but I just wanted everybody to make sure that they knew that within the new 2012-13 capital improvement budget includes widening the Golden Valley Road Bridge over the 14. So that item is being budgeted for this year, and I know that we had so many people that were concerned about that. On the council agenda, realize that items are pretty much put into two categories. They're either on the consent calendar, which means that someone has decided that they're just a normal routine thing that everybody's just going to whisk through and not discuss, but we've been discussing a lot of them lately, especially at the last one. Number 3, agenda item number 3, was another $200,000 to support the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation. And fortunately, Don Fleming and Jonas Peterson provided a presentation. They were there. But they talked about jobs attracted or retained. And I'm going to get with them. I want to know exactly how many jobs were attracted, what kind of jobs they were, and what the companies were. Frank Ferry is now suggesting that they make this a long-term partnership, which means that they may come back next year and ask for more money, even though this was supposed to be the third and final year, and they've so far been subsidized by the county and the city at $1.2 million. Agenda item 6 was demolition of the Old Town, in Old Town Newhall. It's the redevelopment agency had purchased a block across the street from Lyons and Railroad. At the cross streets of Lyons and Railroad, they transferred the property to the city as if no one could see it happening, so that the state wouldn't know that they moved the ownership. But the state sent them a letter and says, move it back to the successor agency to pay off the debt. The city does not want this stuff used for automotive purposes, and they're demolishing 3 of the 4 buildings. They can't do all 4 because one of the buildings is currently being leased, and the owner has a business owner has a lawsuit against the city. Agenda item 7 is special levy of assessment districts. This should be everybody's favorite one. This is in part where we dissolved all the landscape maintenance districts and they reformed them so they could get that vote through. And now all of a sudden we're going to raise the first year, we're going to raise the assessment per the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. Now, partly of what I discussed in there and what Marcia seemed to agree with is that we should now start to have people justifying increases. So she's asked also that they come back at next council meeting with a justification, and the public hearing is set for May the 22nd. So if you want to know why they're increasing it, well, that's a time to ask. And by the way, same thing for the Open Space Preservation District. Originally, that thing was planned to increase at $1 a year over 30 years. That amount of money, by the way, was to support the borrowing of $30 million. Well, they've only borrowed $15 million. So the question is, justify why you've got to continually raise this at the rate of $1 per year. So we've asked that and also asked for a short and a long-term strategic plan. It actually should have been on the other one. We asked for a long and a short-term plan for the installation of those citywide medians in the engineer's report. That was in the landscape maintenance district stuff. But the public hearing for both of those will be on May the 22nd. Agenda item 15, conduct a public hearing and grant an ordinance for a franchise agreement with Crimson California Pipeline. Tim Ben sat there and caught this one and questioned the company's safety records. And I got to tell you what, I left there confused as to what was going on, as to what they were talking about, did research afterwards, but he was actually talking about the company's safety record and the amount of insurance. And Bob Keller at the time suggested the insurance should be about the same, or should be the same as the amount previously required by Shell when they owned it, because Shell sold it to Crimson California in 2005, and in actuality, it hasn't been used for the past 5 years. It was built in 1950. It's steel constructed. It goes underneath the city. And now that it's been purchased by Crimson, they're thinking that There may be some more oil that they can pump through it, and they want to go back and talk about using it. But they have agreed, if you saw it in the article in the paper, they have now agreed to an insurance policy of $5 million per occurrence. There's where the oil pipeline runs underneath the city streets. The franchise agreement's 20 years. We get a whole $15,000, plus some additional payments when they start pumping oil. Keller moved to that the council approved the franchise agreement with terms that they have the same as Shell's insurance policy, and as of now, they have agreed. They're going to finalize this. Second reading is on May the 22nd. Mayor rotational system. Well, you remember we talked about the government code, which says every time you have an election, you have to then name a mayor and mayor pro tem. An April to April mayor term would make for a repeatable, sensible process, but you know we never do things that are repeatable or sensible. So our new policy will be that the mayor and mayor pro tem term will be selected in December, with the term running for each calendar year. And then the discussion went on with our city attorney whether or not the selection again would be made in April, or maybe we may write a policy statement that reflects the council's concurrence in April. Or maybe we'll just continue to babble about it for a while and not actually know what we're going to do. But anyway, I'm waiting for the official minutes to be published on the city website. When I went out to the city website and found that the last set of minutes published was on January the 24th. So there's a few missing. We'll go find out where they are. So the main question is, we keep hearing about policies. Where are all these policies written down? We're going to be talking about it. Agenda item 17. Fortunate change in format for public participation. I think Frank was really gracious when he recognized Tim Ben for championing the issue. Public participation will be divided into two sections. At the start of the meeting for 30 minutes, first 10 speakers, 3 minutes each. Again, the remaining speakers at the end, and then the City Council and City Management will address questions after each section. So we have now gone through that. We're going to see a whole bunch of stuff at the next City Council meeting. I think it's going to be very interesting. We always talked about scheduling a yearly meeting with the mayor. So now that we do have a new mayor, Mr. Ferry, I scheduled a meeting for Tuesday on May the 22nd. Rick Drew, who's the president of our board of directors, and I will represent us there, and we'll talk to them about some of our concerns. All the community outreach that have been planned, all the community outreach that had been promised to us, the Unified Development Code changes that we've been talking about for the last 5 years that was supposed to happen in the spring, remember? Is it spring yet? Then the status of the Canyon Country Community Center. We want to talk a lot about public safety. We want to talk about public safety issues, and that's more than just the police department. We want to talk about paramedic services, how they rate on the east compared to the west side of the valley. We'll bring that to you because we're really getting the short end of that stick. And the citywide plan for and schedule for standard median insulation, which was supposed to save us a whole bunch of water, by the way. Same discussion. The mayor's role in the sanitation district board, is he going to actually participate, or is he going to let the alternate take it most of the time? And shouldn't the city have an official position on the chloride and high-speed rail issue? Shouldn't we actually get on the stage and say what we really think of them, because the city has not taken an official position. So that's what's happening at the next City Council meeting. I hope that you can be there.